Hello, oh, man. Is it hello and welcome to the SGR thing?
Something.
How did this work? I mean, it's been
I
so
I don't
long.
know. It's been a while.
Yes, we're finally back, apparently, to try to do something and talk or something like that. I don't know. It's been what, like 3 weeks?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
know it's at least.
yeah. Nearly a month.
Yeah, I think looking at the timestamps, the last one we did was on 316, and now it's 413. Wow, it's. I know that one was because you were going out of town, then I was out of town for 2 weeks. Oh, craziness, I tell you, craziness.
You were
Anyway,
out of town longer than that. You were out of town like 3 weeks.
yeah, something like that. I forget. All I know is that it was 6 days of being just in a car driving to and from places. One day to drive to Tennessee, one day to drive across Tennessee, one day to drive to North Carolina, then driving around all in North Carolina, and then reversing that trip on the way back. It was a long time. I was so glad to not be in a car.
I was in North Carolina yesterday.
Yes, yes, you were.
Yeah, Raleigh's cool. I wish I had more time to spend in that city. It's a unique place.
Yeah. My wife actually just brought that up. She's talking about trying to maybe consider moving there. I don't know. It's ridiculous. Anyway, yes, this is the SGR Coffee Break Podcast. We are finally back. We are going to actually make this a thing. Maybe we can do it 2 weeks in a row. Maybe we'll be able to do one next week too.
We
Maybe.
should, because I won't be leaving for PAX East until the next day.
Oh, PAX East. Carrie's going big time. Carrie's going big time.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta have
So
faith.
big time.
Gotta have faith. But it's interesting because we just talked about you being on the road, and it kind of ties into our subject. So, Carrie, why were you in North Carolina yesterday?
I was there for a press preview event for Boss Key Productions' very first game, Lawbreakers. And for those who don't know what Boss Key Productions is, this is a company that was co-founded by Cliff Bleszinski, who was one of the original people at Epic Games, and was a big part of the Gears of War franchise, as well as several other things like Jazzy Jackrabbit, because he actually talked about that yesterday. And so he said he got burnt out on the whole process and just left, and then realized that he couldn't let go of video games. He wanted to create something so much, so he got a partner as someone he knew back at Epic way back in the day. And as his partner put it, well, as Cliffy V put it, he said his partner, Arjan, he's the one who comes in and actually runs the business. And Arjan's like, yes, I make sure everything works, and then I have to rein Cliff in because he'll come in and just be like, we need to do lightning hands. And we're like, yeah, we can't really do that, dude. Just calm down. And Cliff said, he's like, yeah, he grounds me. I just come in and it's just like, I want to name weapons. And he's like, no, we can't do that.
Oh, brother.
So they're coming out with a multiplayer game that they hope to release this year. That is their plan. It is called Lawbreakers. It is a multiplayer only arena shooter, which I believe Battleborn is the same thing.
Uh, we'll tackle that after Lawbreakers because there's
Okay.
they're very vastly different games from what I would understand. But
Okay. Well, I really am. I'm under embargo for Lawbreakers. All I can say I was there because I already posted. I mean, they said, I hear you post pictures. You say that you were here. I just can't talk about my impressions of it. I did play it. I am terrible. I did really well my first session, but nobody knew what they were doing. And then apparently people they needed like 2 play sessions to figure it out. So while I'm still sucking, they're all improving. So yeah.
yeah. So Lawbreakers, from what I understand, because you can actually see some uh, videos on it and
Hmm.
what they were going for. So they're trying to differentiate themselves. I saw a lot of Cliffy B kept talking a lot about the Unreal tournament, like how they're trying to make games different. So back in the Quake 3 days, it was all dark and gritty. So they made Unreal
He
Tournament.
talked about Quake.
So
Yeah.
when they made Unreal Tournament, they made it bright and colorful, and there's all that space jumping and all that other jazz. So what they're trying to do is, let's take this to a basic level at the current moment. Right now, we're seeing a big rise in the, League of Legends kind of actually brought MOBAs into prime time. It's not the first MOBA. We all know that. It all started off in Dota with the Warcraft 3 mod that they had back in the day. But Riot has really kind of made MOBAs the big thing, right? Because let's face it, when you're playing for a couple $100,000, it's a big ordeal. Now we're starting to see a spin-off on that. You got Paragon, which is a MOBA, but I believe it's third-person shooter. So you got that. You have Overwatch, which is basically just a multiplayer arena shooter.
But it's not. But to me, a MOBA is very specific. Like, I actually see MOBAs being different from the arena shooters.
Yeah, but...
And that MOBAs is usually, from what I understand, from the very little I understand, is that a MOBA is a team-based thing.
Yep.
Of course, the arena shooter is as well. I'm really killing my argument here. But, like, I don't know, like, the MOBA, it seems like there's, like, more strategy into what you're supposed to do. And the arena shooter kind of takes a multiplayer mode and makes that an event.
So if you look at Paragon,
okay, I don't know nothing about Paragon. Although there was guys on this trip that did play it, and we asked them how it was, and they're like, "Well, it's pretty."
You know how League of Legends kind of works, right? You got the 3 lanes. You have a middle lane, a top lane, and essentially you're just trying to work through towers, get to the enemy's base, and destroy their base.
Right.
Paragon takes that, instead of being like a top-down clicky fest, it's like a third-person shooter, but you have that MOBA aspect.
Smite does that too.
Yeah, Smite is the same way. So you have the 3 lanes, and you're trying to do that. Battleborn, where Battleborn really differentiates itself, and you can play this right now. It's in open beta, and I believe it's now open beta on PC, Xbox,
everywhere.
and PS4 now. So PS4 people got it last week, Thursday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Battleborn is it's a Gearbox game, so there's a lot of color in it. It's very comedic. There's a whole story mode. You can actually play a whole story mode, and you can either do it online with people, or you can just play it by yourself and just work on your character.
Okay.
They have a versus mode where they bring in all kinds of different variations of games, and there's a lot. That's where it starts feeling more like a MOBA, because you have 2 teams, and there's one where you have to get your minions from your side into their base. There's another one where you go beat their sentry, aka their core or their base. So you have that going on too. And from what I saw of Lawbreakers, they're trying to fit somewhere in between what we're seeing as far as Overwatch and what we're seeing as far as Paragon, because Paragon to me is more the MOBA shooter. Overwatch is much more Team Fortress, CSGO.
Right from Cliffy B's mouth, like, he talked about Overwatch, how he loves Overwatch. And obviously Lawbreakers has been in development much longer than he's been able to play Overwatch. But he said one thing, like, he liked him Overwatch. He's like, it's Blizzard, and he even says, like, Blizzard can do no wrong. But his whole thing is, he's like, but I don't want to always play a game like this where it's Pixar-y. He's like, I don't want to play as a gorilla. I want to play as, a really gritty guy who doesn't mind saying fuck all the time. Well, they got that right. I'll tell you what. Man, I was just like, man, was that really necessary? I mean, I have a sailor's mouth too, but, sometimes, like, you hear stuff like, did you really have to say that? Like, it felt kind of forced sometimes. Now I'm probably getting to my embargo territory. But he said he wanted to make it gritty. But at the same time, he didn't make it like Gears of War, where it's just, brown and black. It's actually, there are, like, a lot of bright colors.
Yeah, from what I saw in the videos of the little bits of gameplay that they were showing, it is very colorful. It also brings in a whole aspect of gravity-defying kind of stunts. Like, the video that I saw was they would run and jump off of a cliff, off a building, and then shoot like a grapple hook and do this massive swing around and land on a platform and start shooting people. It was, yeah. So I'm really curious to see what they do with this, and I hope that they will do the new fad thing, which is releasing a beta. I downloaded the Doom open beta yesterday. Starts Friday, if I remember correctly. But
I don't know why they wouldn't
yeah,
put it that way.
so it'd be cool. But
Everybody, if you're going to have multiplayer anything, everybody needs to do beta's stress tests.
yeah, but right now it seems to be like the hot shit is all these multiplayer centric games where we're starting to lose a lot of the single player stuff, and there
Hmm.
it's all teams, which sucks. If you, I mean, it's great if you have a bunch of friends that you can actually focus in and play with. It really sucks for those of us that are like, we have one or two friends that may be interested in the game, so having to
Hmm.
have a team of 5 people, and then you get those random 2 people that just either make the game or break the game for you. I don't know. So I haven't played Overwatch. I've watched some of the streams of it. Looks all right. I was just like, it looks like Team Fortress, except for it's done by Blizzard. I have a friend that's debating it. I'm just like, to me there's nothing really there. It's you pick your character, you go in, you fight each other down. You have a team that wins, you have a team that loses. Where I like Battleborn is it brings in aspects of looter shooters. So you get gear. That gear helps make your character better. You level up your
Okay.
character. You unlock slots. Obviously, you're hunting for better gear throughout the time, and you get gear. Even if you're playing the single story player thing and you just want to play by yourself, you get gear that way. Actually, you get more gear based on this if you do the story stuff.
Okay.
But you do get gear if you play multiplayer. And from what I've watched because obviously I don't have a team that I can put together to play this. It does have matchmaking, so obviously I could just join in with a group. But then I get that 10-year-old yelling in my ear about how much I suck. But that's why you don't be a dick on the internet, people. Just don't do it. Uh, but watching some streams where people actually have a core group of people that they play with, and actually watching them do that stuff, man, it's hilarious. It's so much fun. It just looks like so much fun. And actually, I've had so much fun in Battleborn. I've given up how many hours I've probably logged in that game now, but it's a ton of fun. So, and I mean, if we break it down even further, let's look at the Division, right? Like you can see all
Hmm.
your friends. It's obviously they entice you to actually do multiplayer, especially when you go in the dark zone because it makes it better.
Right.
Uh, so you got
It's
that.
easier to survive, I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Let me tell you, extractions do get hairy. Those do get scary.
Yes.
But I I guess we've been kind of coming down this road for quite a while now as more games focus more on multiplayer. At least now it's not like shoehorned in. Now it's the primary focus. So at least we're starting to see that. But I
We have that, but then you also, because they talked about this week and kind of disagreed with them because we even brought up what's going on with Titanfall because they were saying that that people don't want the single player in games. I'm like, well, that's not entirely true because I know so many people who never even got into Star Wars Battlefront because there was no single player. Now they were saying that the stats shows like from Call of Duty and Battlefield that it's less than 40% of all players have played the single player and less than 10% even finished the single player campaign. Now that may be true in many stances, and I totally get what they're saying that they wanted to just do a really solid multiplayer experience and not divert any more time because they said then they need a bigger team and it'd be much more expensive. You have to do story and cutscenes and all that stuff, and I totally get it. But EA even saw that Titanfall had its crest for like what, a month maybe?
maybe if that.
Maybe, and people were like, well, there's really no single player thing to kind of, keep me coming back, and I don't even know how well they did the end game, with it. And so Titanfall 2, they're like, yeah, we're going to have a single player campaign, because I think that they realized maybe we left out a lot of people. And how many people are still clamoring for Star Wars Battlefront to actually have a single player
Oh,
campaign?
you see stuff like that come up quite often, actually. At least
Yeah.
once a week, I see somebody going, "I really wish Star Wars had a single player campaign." The whole, and going back to Call of Duty used to have a really solid single player experience. Like the story was actually decent, but I think what
Mhm.
happened is that they saw the multiplayer thing starting to take over, and they started focusing more on the multiplayer and shoehorning in some sort of story, and
Right.
the story just ended up. If you read the reviews, almost any Call of Duty in the last 4 or 5 years now has just been like, the story sucked. So they just
Except
don't even try.
for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, because that studio was very big on. They're like, yeah, multiplayer was not our focus. It was the single player that was the focus, and everyone talked about. They're like, yeah, the multiplayer is good, but it was the campaign that that made him recommend it to people.
Yeah, and now I think.
But that was also a brand new studio that they brought in for Call of Duty. It wasn't Treyarch. It wasn't Infinity Ward.
Yeah. And now it's. I mean, when you hear Call of Duty, it's just synonymous with multiplayer playing
Right.
anymore. You never hear about a good story anymore. So.
Not since Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah. So I mean, it sucks, but it's the
Well,
direction that they've taken that game, and that's what it is now. So there you go.
and and I can see that that there is this calling for the multiplayer only. Like I know people, that's all that they do in Call of Duty. They never touch the campaign. But I don't think that you can broad base all games based on the Call of Duty section, because they're kind of their own thing. Yes, millions of people buy Call of Duty every year. It's the same millions. And those same millions aren't the ones that are buying Battlefield. It's a portion
Yeah.
that are also buying Battlefield. They will also do this and will also do that. So you can't blanket that, because there's 10 million, okay, there's more than that, these 100 million Call of Duty players, because they all do this does not mean that goes the same for everybody who likes shooters.
Yeah. Let's see. What else we have? Oh, let's take our favorite company right now, Capcom, in Street Fighter V. That whole primary focus right there was on multiplayer.
Right, and that upset a lot of people.
Yep. So there you go. I mean, some of us are still waiting, really clamoring for that story mode, which is supposed to come out in like 2 or 3 months. But
Right, and actually I haven't touched Street Fighter V since my review, because I'm waiting for the story mode.
yeah, I'm waiting for the stuff that really needs to be in that should have been in the game before they released it. But
Or an arcade mode,
yeah, something that just allows me. I don't want to be forced into. I mean, training mode is fine for so much, but eventually you want something a dummy that actually moves and interacts instead of making it jump so that way you can practice your high uppercuts and all that. It just.
Which, like when we discussed, like we understand why they did what they did, because the tournaments, and they wanted to put this out the door, but they know that people want this single player experience, and I think Capcom's about to have a very rude awakening with their upcoming game that I'm going to experience at PAX East, I hope, and that is why I hope, but I just am curious about it, and it's the multiplayer only game Umbrella Corps.
Yeah, I just started seeing little nibits of information showing up on that one.
Yeah, and I don't know why they decided to do that. I mean, wouldn't I think the resources would be better spent on, I don't know, making a Resident Evil game that would actually appease people, aside from, remaking stuff.
Yeah.
So, I have a really good friend who loves Resident Evil. Even she keeps buying it, even how much it hurts her feelings, and she's so mad about Umbrella Corps, and when they announced that they were delaying it, I sent her a message, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I have some really bad news. She's like, do I need to sit? I'm like, yeah, you do need to sit, because we're going to get through this. I promise. I will be here for you. And she's like, what? Like, Umbrella Corps has been delayed. She's like, I fucking hate you.
Oh,
I mean, she said she didn't know what depressed her more, the fact that I led her up to that, or the fact that Umbrella Corps is still a thing and that hasn't been canceled.
So this one just hit me too. I just said this. Doom. They're clearly focusing on their multiplayer, because
Doom's never been about that.
There's a lot of, if you go on the internet, which you shouldn't do because it's a very bad place to go, scary, it'll depress you. But I think this is like PlayStation Lifestyle or something like. I forget. Somebody had tweeted out, Doom multiplayer betas, open beta starts this weekend, and the amount of, I guess, nostalgia people that came out and was like, Doom is never meant to be multiplayer. This is stupid. This is dumb.
I don't know why it couldn't be.
I
I mean,
my hope is that it is actually however you want to say it, that hopefully they do a decent single player campaign. They're clearly capable of doing that, but this massive focus on multiplayer, I get it. They're trying to stress test and all that other jazz because they don't want to obviously have a Capcom where the servers crash on day one. But
I don't think that they're doing an overemphasis on multiplayer. I think that they're wanting to do all these tests because again, multiplayer does need all these tests, and they're not saying very much for the campaign, and very much the same way that Halo did the exact same thing. That they had all these multiplayer tests. Okay, so they had two, but they still had these multiplayer tests because they were guarding in the story so much. And I could see that maybe Bethesda and id are doing a little bit of the same. And id may be also really gun shy after Rage.
yeah,
Like we kind of want to keep everything really close and and not really discuss it right now. And if at least we do an awesome multiplayer campaign, at least we'll have that, which is a horrible attitude to have.
yeah, I don't know, but I mean, they definitely pull at id right now is definitely pulling at the nostalgia strings because they definitely brought back a lot of the classic looking monsters from the original Doom 2. That's where I'm really excited, ripping some eyeballs out of some floating mass blobs of whatever's. But it'll be curious. I'm looking forward to trying out the multiplayer thing this weekend. I know that I won't be playing a whole lot of it because obviously I don't really enjoy the multiplayer aspect of it. This is also where Battleborn is really great for me because they have that whole story mission, and if I really want to invite people in, we can do that. And the multiplayer is just they're two different beasts crammed into one game, and it's enjoyable. But we'll see how Doom works out. I want to see the weapons. I want to see the stage. It's like 2 stages, 2 different game modes. And
what game modes do you know?
One is
I probably should know.
One is team. One is going to be team deathmatch, and one is I'm thinking something like a capture the flag type of ordeal. Okay. I forget what it's called. It's
see,
like
and I'm more. I like the thing I really liked about Gears of War is they did have the versus multiplayer, but they had a lot of co-op multiplayer, and I don't mean co-op as in my team versus your team, because of course they had that, but I meant like they had your team versus AI.
Yeah, they had like the
waves
horde mode.
The
birth of a great horde mode from Gears of War right there.
And so I really enjoyed that, because when we got done playing Gears of War, I just set up with a group of my friends, and we just jump in, and especially like in Gears of War 3 when we would actually play as the Locust, we had more fun doing that than anything else. But so I'm curious if Doom does that. I mean, I've been invited to both of their closed betas, and I haven't been in town for any of the betas. So like, thank you so much. I'm not in town. I can't enjoy this. And I got so much on my schedule right now, I can't even look at the open beta. So I'm really curious what they do with that. But I can understand where people also, they don't want another game with team deathmatch, another game with capture the flag.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely need some. I think that's why things like Paragon and Battleborn they're bringing in those elements of MOBAs to kind of change it up. You're not just King of the Hill, capture the flag. Horde mode would be great, but it's I'd like to see a spin on Horde mode where it's maybe you're also fighting another team between waves. So you got to do your wave thing, and then maybe there's an incentive to then try to, or even during the wave, there's some sort of incentive to go hunt down the other team as well. Change up Horde mode a little bit, make it a little bit more fresh, a little bit more new. But yeah, this emphasis right now, and let's face it, gaming has ebbs and flows, and what becomes hot. A couple of years ago, when the PS2 came out, we saw just a huge, massive amount of RPGs coming out, because that was the in thing. Right. Now we're starting to see this looter shooter kind of craze kicking off with some of the online, multiplayer centric kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see where we're at. And we got to face it, a lot of companies right now, it's because it's what makes them money. And if you're going to invest millions of dollars into making a game, you're going to go with what's hot at the current moment. And hopefully you catch that trend while it's at its peak as opposed to when it's going out. So,
Right.
yeah. But I don't know. It's a fun time, but it'd be nice to
Yeah, it
see.
is.
It'll be interesting to see how this one all plays out. I'm really curious to see more on Lawbreakers because from what I saw, it looked crazy, just because of
It is.
all the like they're playing with gravity physics and the whole rope, the grapple hook swingy thing. I was just
Yeah,
like, holy
that and only one character can do that. And so it's like in every we only got to play with four different roles, is how they put it, and each role has very different abilities, very different weapons. And so that particular role with the grapple hook is the assassin, and she moved way too fast for me to get a handle. And the thing about the assassin is that she can use that grapple for more than just whipping around the stage. She can use it to grapple onto enemies and like pull forward, and then just do
yeah,
the sword and
I think
slice
I
them in
saw that
half.
on
And
like one of the videos that they had released. It was just I don't.
yeah,
I'm really curious because they said they didn't want to be from the video. Cliffy said that he didn't want to be like Overwatch or CS:GO, and he definitely wanted to differentiate himself. And I forget what the other was. It Paragon that he had brought up?
he
No,
didn't
it might have been
mention
Battleborn. It might have been Battleborn, and he said they're trying to sit in between those two styles of games. So it'll be interesting because I mean, Unreal Tournament when that came out, that was the shit, man. I love that game. We played that up in the computer lab for hours.
Yeah.
We would have, I mean, all of us at work, we would just take the training lab, turn it into our own little Unreal Tournament fest, and just go to town on each other, eating pizza. Oh, the good old days of working at a university. Good old days. But, so, I am curious. But for right now, we might as well we got to suck it up and just go with the flow, because this is going to be the new hotness for the next probably at least 5 years. So.
Yeah, and so then in the meantime, while that's the new hotness, I'll just hang out with some of the other hotness that is the point and click adventure that has come like surging through the indies. My God.
I love indie developers right now because they are definitely doing some great things. They are bringing back those old good classic gaming styles that haven't been popular since like the 90s. Oh, bless you, indie developers. Still got to play more Pillars of Eternity. Really got to handle that. But.
Yeah, if I ever do that again, it's going to be like put on the story mode. Then click to win.
You know what does scare me, and after this we'll move on to what we've been playing. But what does worry me is we're seeing this rise in all these looter shooter co-op-y kind of games, multiplayer focus-centric games. Meanwhile, in the background, what's brewing is VR. And unlike 3D TVs and all that other jazz that came in motion controls they were like, hey, this is going to be great. And we all were like, no, this isn't going to work. VR is a thing that is, we're not seeing that, oh, it's not going to work. We're seeing, oh, this is like the best shit ever. So my guess is that within 5 years, we'll have the Oculus Rift 2, the H.
Yeah, talking to some of the guys from this weekend or this week, they were saying so one of the guys that was there, he writes for Windows Central, and he said that they now have a VR guy. It's like all he does, and because they're Windows, they don't do PlayStation. It's Oculus Rift and Vive. So he was explaining to us why the Vive is actually the better option, and they were talking about all that, which I totally get. They're like, yeah, the problem is right now is that the games aren't that good because they're all kind of tech demos. They said, but give it a couple of years and you're going to see some amazing stuff. I've actually signed up for my first VR session ever at PAX East, so I'm going to give this a shot.
I'll be curious what you say. See what you
Yeah.
come back with, because the couple people that I know that have had been able to play with VR, they're like, yeah, it's cool, like looking around, it's very immersive, but I got sick.
See, and then there's people that say that if you get sick, it's because the person who put it on you didn't calibrate it correctly.
This is why I'm not buying the first generation of VR. You have so many different platforms coming out, none of which are the games aren't cross compatible from what I understand. So you got to choose your poison, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the whole system requirements, I think that they're just going to start coming down as, the engineering, and they actually start optimizing VR devices a lot better, so that way it can be a bigger thing.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't like what the Oculus guy said about cheap hardware and why people suck. I think he's a dick. If they can put a freaking VR device on a phone, come on, man.
Which actually the guy I was talking to, he said that the Gear VR, for what it is, so like it is really amazing what they've been able to do with the phone.
Yeah. So.
Now, if I'm going to get any VR, which I'm not, but if I was, right now it'd probably be the PlayStation VR, and the only reason for that is because I already have the goddamn system. Yeah. I have the system, I have the camera, I actually have the Move controllers because my husband bought them for me years ago because he's like, I thought you'd think this was cool, and they've been sitting on a charger ever since. I don't think I've ever used them once. And although they did make a pretty awesome remote control for the PS3 now that I think about it. Like I was watching movies and stuff, that's what I would use for my remote was the Move controllers. Okay. But so I already have everything. I don't have to upgrade my hardware. I just have to, pay the $400, which is more money than I really have right now. But if I wanted the VR for PC, okay, well this machine's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
At all. I'd have to totally buy a new machine, and from what I understand, that I'm talking about $900 to $1,000. And then if I get the Vive, which actually has the controllers, the real controllers, that's another $800. And
yep, and you got to set up a space for it. At least the Vive, when I understand, you got to put up cameras so that way it can watch you in your space and all that. I don't.
Yeah, I think that's one reason why this guy said he recommended the Vive is because you can actually use it in a smaller space because of the way that the camera setup is.
Yeah,
but
I read somebody say that you set up boundaries, and the software picks up where your boundaries are at, so that way it controls all that in the game. But yeah, anyway, VR. In 5 years, it'll probably be a thing that we're all like, VR is like the best shit ever, man. I was playing this game, and you should have seen the sex scene in God of War, man. I was right there. God of War 6, 10 out of 10 for sex scene.
So did you read today's Penny Arcade?
Yeah.
With the Gear VR?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, for those who don't know, today's Penny Arcade is Gabe and Tycho are sitting at a table drinking Starbucks coffee, and Gabe is sitting there with the Gear VR on his face. Tycho's like, well, why'd you ask me to meet you for coffee if you're just going to sit there in your virtual world? He's like, no, I'm not. Like, we're at a Starbucks. He goes, we are at a Starbucks. Oh, but this one's nicer.
Oh, man. You know what? Hey, it'll be great when our cars are driving ourselves so we can just sit in our, this is starting to look an awful lot like WALL-E. We're all going to be on our floating chairs.
Yeah, no. No.
The real world.
I refuse,
people.
man.
The real world.
I refuse.
It's right out there. Go out there and experience it. Anyway, all right. We've really taken multiplayer into VR territory. Apparently, we need to have a VR podcast at some point.
Well, we're just where the industry is going. This is where it is going.
Yeah, and sadly,
I'm not going through puberty. I have allergies.
And sadly,
so my allergies were gone. North Carolina. As soon as I get off the plane in Dallas, like, oh.
Really? Because when I was in North Carolina, the pollen there was just ridiculous. I hated every minute. It was just like.
Well, the thing is here, I've never really had that bad of allergies before, but this time, I was like, am I sick for a week? And so I was like, no, you just actually have allergies. And I've never really had that, and we're discovering it's because we actually did not get.
Well, you see, obviously we don't know how to do this shit. This is why we shouldn't take 3 weeks off. So there you go. We had a nice big break there. There's a massive loss of connection. Apparently, Carrie forgot to turn off Steam. Bad.
Yeah, and it decided to download 5 things at once.
See, you can't take us anywhere.
No. I totally forgot that I need to, close things that ran in the background because it's been so long.
Oh, brother. I look forward to our next month off and how badly we stagger through this again. Oh, brother. Because that's going to happen because it's the summer. Let's face it. Shit is about to
Yeah,
get.
because I'm gonna have the kids at home, so yeah,
It'll be
it'll be
fun.
good times.
Good times. All right. Well, let's see if we can do this again.
Well, let's
Carrie,
just talk about what we've been playing.
there
Let's
you
just move
go.
on.
Why
Yeah.
don't you lead this off? We know that you
So,
played Lawbreakers that you can't
yeah, I
tell
didn't
us
play
jack shit
Vlogbreakers, so I
about.
can't really discuss it, except that I sucked at it so hard, so hard. But that's to be given.
Carrie sucks at Lawbreakers. 10 out of 10. IGN review right there.
Yeah, it's actually probably one of the IGN guys is one who killed me all the time because IGN was there.
Oh, brother.
So, but anyway, so of course I've been playing more of the Division because I pretty much had a breakdown last week of I had too much to do. So instead of being healthy about it to making a priority list, I just walked away from it and did something I wasn't supposed to do at all because that's just what you do. Um, so yeah, I'm still have not advanced the story at all because I'm too busy cleaning out regions. So like I think the time that you and I played together, I've not advanced the story yet. I'm still cleaning out regions. So like I think like for the next story piece, my recommended level is supposed to be like 15 or something, and I'm already 21. So I should be okay, I hope. Um, but yeah, the latest update though that they put in where like now you have all these named NPCs that come around. Those are a bitch, man.
Yeah.
I've pretty much run from them. Like especially this one that was like a level 20 cleaner and he was like yellow and pretty much anytime he sprays me with fire it's insta death. I was like, okay, I'm just going to like hide and let you just keep going.
So did you download the patch yesterday?
I'm sure my PlayStation 4 did.
Oh, wait till you see what they did with that one. Because now, not only do you have like that map with all the stuff that you're trying to collect, you now have this nice big list on the right-hand side that has all these little checkboxes of stuff that you can do. A completionist hellhole right there.
Oh, okay. Maybe I shouldn't log in anytime soon because I might stroke out.
And Oopsie just can't get their dailies fucking down. Saturday they had issues where the dailies just didn't show up. You didn't have any daily missions.
So I guess
Today
that's
they
one thing
have-
about not being part of the end games. I don't see
T-
any of that.
Today they don't have the daily challenge mission because that just disappeared.
So let
And
me
they're-
guess, you've been gone all this time and you've already gotten to the end game?
Yeah, I've beaten all the story missions, taken care of all the side missions. I've started cleaning out like all the little collectibles. So I think I've got like 3 areas totally cleared out. I have one where there's one echo that I'm trying to get, but I think it's tied to a story mission, and I can't get into that building yet. So I tried it last night, and then I was like, oh, let's try a daily mission. So I've been in the dark zone. I think I'm like level 18 now in the dark for my dark zone rank. Yeah.
So I've only been in the dark zone once. I went with my friend Eric and that was it.
Oh, it's a good time. It's a lovely time. It's also bad. I mean, what was it
I
yesterday?
mean, I had fun when I was in there. I'm gonna not go back in until I'm level 30.
Let me tell you, the best. I think I haven't really. At first, I thought I was gonna hate it. I was like, man, this is multiplayer. I really don't like this. I like the fact that the only things that they can take off your body, if a rogue kills you, the only thing that they can take is the stuff that you've looted from within
Yes.
that. You only lose up to 9 items.
Right, so that was my biggest fear. I was like, I don't want to go in there and have some rogue guy like take all my stuff, which is what I thought it was. And then Eric's like, no, they just take your second little bag that you have.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not near scared now.
Yeah, now I'm just like, oh, okay, well, if they're only going to, yeah, it would suck if I got some sort of, like, yesterday I finally got my first piece of yellow gear from in there and was like, oh, shit, I got to get to an extraction point, like, stat, and hope that I don't get killed on the way. So it adds a nice bit of tension. I do like that aspect. And then
Yeah.
I met up with a group of, like, 8 people that were just rogue hunting. It was hilarious. Because we were all...
Oh, so they were hunting for rogues?
Yeah.
That's fun.
It was great. So that was fun. And then I rounded a corner to get to an extraction point and ran into a group of 4 rogues. It was like, oh yeah, here we oh yeah, okay, that didn't work. Yeah, they stole my purple shit, fuckers. Assholes. But yeah, Dark Zone is actually pretty fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, I've heard some interesting stories. Like, I think I was listening to what Colin Moriarty was talking about how he actually went to the Dark Zone once to see what it was about, and he ran across these 3 guys and noticed that they were rogues, and he's like, shit. He's like, he kind of did this with his gun, like, I don't, and kind of sidestepped them, and they let him go by, and this one guy turned around, and he said you could tell how the other guys, like, got in his way, like, dude, he could have, like, shot at us, like, let him go, type thing. And he was like, see, so that was kind of a really cool moment. And, like, so I see a bunch of those. Like, what happened to Eric and I was we ran into this one guy who hung out with us for a while, and then he got killed by NPC. And we're like, oh, we miss you, Cryptic Freeze. Like, you were kind of fun to hang out with. And then we teamed up with this other guy, I forget his name, and we did an extraction point, and we're all together, and like the 3 of us, like, hey, high five, that was kind of fun. And then of course, all those other NPCs like ambushed us, and then we start cleaning up the other loot that we couldn't hold before. And we knew that we both had to log up, so we called the extraction again. Asshole shot us both. We're like, man, you were cool. And of course, like, I'm laughing. I was like, man, all right.
Oh, the Division. If only you weren't so buggy half the time, you'd be great. Oh, Division. What else have you been playing, Carrie?
Well, while you were gone, I played a lot of Twilight Princess. I had to say, like, I guess I'm like, it sort of sounds like, I guess I got to be a better gamer because I just don't get as stressed over things now. But also, man, this game is so much better to play with a controller instead of Wii Remote shit.
Fucking Wii Remote. Motion controls, that was the hot shit way back in the day. Yeah, I know that didn't last.
So I haven't been able to play it in a while because I've been so busy with other reviews, but because I had, had Quantum Break and all that, but I had a review, so I had to put that down. It's been a while, but then, like, so on the plane, I took my 3DS, and I finally relented, and I copied over my stuff from my 3DS XL to my new 3DS. At least they've improved that process, where all of your stuff that you download now goes with it. Oh, so well, bravo, nice. Nintendo, that I don't have to re-download all that shit. So then I tried out some Hyrule Warriors Legends, and man, I have to say, like, it's kind of weird playing on a handheld, and I learned that you can't really play with headphones, at least not with the earbuds that I was using, because I just couldn't hear really what, even though the volume's low, I really couldn't hear what was going on, and some of the cues are very important. The graphics are killing me, man. I mean, it's because I already played on Wii U, but I can't handle that the cutscenes are so great, like they look like they're right off the Wii U, and then everything else is like cel shaded. Like, oh, that's very jarring to go back to that. So it's different. So I'm gonna get through a little bit more so I can see like how the strategy guide works with it. And then, of all weird things, I was looking through my little 3DS library that I brought, and I was like, let me just try Final Fantasy, the 4 Heroes of Light. I always wanted to finish this and never did. It's been a long time since I looked at it. It's a DS game, and wow, is that rough.
Oh, how far we've come.
God, it's so rough. But I didn't really realize that this was kind of the precursor for Bravely Default. Because they pretty much took all the character modeling and put it in Bravely Default. Like, even, the adventurer that you save your game with? Mm. Yeah, he's there. Wow. The only thing about him is that he doesn't offer a shop as well when you save your game, which is, I would love that. Can I please buy some potions for your ass before I go to this boss fight? They don't... It's almost kind of like the precursor to the default, how they have it, because instead of having magic points, you have action points, and you get action points by boosting, which is, defending. Very much like how Bravely Default was. Of course, this came out years before Bravely Default. It's like, oh, at least I now know where they got all their ideas, including the characters. They just, like, up-resed them for Bravely Default. So, but yeah, I mean, I had some fun. I was really enjoying it, so I might actually finish it this time, maybe. I
Oh,
mean, I never
hey.
finished Bravely Default because when I got to where you had to fight everything all over a second time, I was like, wait a second. I looked it up, and you have to do it 4 times. Like, oh, fuck this game. Checked that thing out.
Nope, the fuck out of that one.
Even though Blake is like, oh, but it's so great. No, I don't enjoy playing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, you did love that game a lot.
Yeah, so I am not even checking out Bravely Second in Lair. Fuck that.
Oh, okay.
Don't care.
Oh, that it? That's what you got?
That's it. Yep.
Well, let's see. What did I play? Played more of the Division, obviously. We just talked about that. And Battleborn. Been
Which
playing
we talked about too.
a boatload of that, so.
I'm glad you're enjoying Battleborn.
Oh, it's got that just classic Gearbox humor in it, so. And it's colorful. It's like somebody slaughtered a unicorn all over. Just so pretty. Anyway, with that fun image in your head
Wow,
of a slaughtered
okay.
unicorn, Carrie, take us home.
All right. Well, we miss you guys. We're happy to be back. We'll be back next week, yes. Even if I'm still in the middle of Packing Nightmare, we will be back. So we thank you so much for watching and listening and paying attention, keeping with us. So if you want to watch more of our videos, including videos like this, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also check out this podcast in iTunes if you prefer to listen to us instead of watch us. Of course, you can follow all of us at Twitter. The site is at Strategy Reviews. Chris is at Starvit, and I am at Crunchy Chocobo. And of course, we ask you keep on reading StrategyGuideReviews.com. I gotta harass somebody about a Far Cry Primal review.
Oh, wasn't that the make or break for that person?
Oh, it might have been, yeah. Of course, I got 3 of my own, so I don't.
And
got
hey,
any room to talk.
Dark Souls 3 is out now. Officially.
Oh yeah, I should be getting that guide today or tomorrow.
Yep. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Prima Games, please send us that beautiful collector's edition. Just send it to us. With all the good
I'm
stuff.
sure they will.
Hopefully.
We'll keep fingers crossed.
And with that, we'd like to remind you, and I know that you haven't been paying attention or listening to me, because over the last 3 weeks, I've been able to see online people being dicks. So, they probably don't listen to us. So, that's probably why they're being dicks on the internet. But
That is true.
for all of you listening or watching us, remember, don't be a dick on the internet. Just don't do it. It makes people mad. It's just horrible. It makes for a terrible internet experience for everybody around. So don't do it. And with that, we're out. Peace.